Imagine this, you suddenly realize you're dreaming. At first it feels incredible. You're standing in your bedroom, but something is off. The air feels too still, the shadows in the corners are too dark. Your door is slightly open, even though you know you closed it before going to sleep. Then it hits you. This is a dream. So you try to wake up by closing your eyes or pinching your arm. And then, you do. You're back in bed where a sense of relief washes over you. You grab your phone to check the time, but the numbers on the screen don't make sense. The walls look slightly wrong. Your bedroom door is open again. And that's when the fear returns. Because you didn't wake up. You only dreamed you did. So now the question becomes terrifyingly simple. Can you get stuck in a lucid dream? To understand the answer, you first need to understand lucid dreaming. A lucid dream is a dream in which the dreamer becomes aware that they are dreaming while sleep continues, allowing the dreamer to change or control the plot of the dream itself. But to make sure you don't act out the dream, lucid dreams mostly occur during REM sleep, the stage in which vivid dreaming is common and the body's muscles normally become limp. Brain studies suggest lucid dreaming is a kind of hybrid state. It still has the features of REM sleep, but some brain systems involved in self-awareness and reflection seem to come back online more than they do in ordinary dreams. One important point, lucidity is not the same thing as total control. A person may know they are dreaming and still have only limited power over the dream plot, dream characters, or waking up. Less experienced lucid dreamers often report more fragile lucidity and less control. Why it can feel like you're stuck. Dreams can feel as real as waking life. Researchers studying interactive lucid dreaming describe dreams as a hallucinatory world that can feel fully real from the inside. If the dream is vivid and emotionally intense, trying to force yourself awake may not work right away, especially if awareness is present but control is weak. REM sleep also helps explain the odd physical feeling. During REM, your muscles normally become limp. That protective paralysis is there to stop dream enactment. So if, inside a dream, you try to wake by moving your real body, your sleeping brain may not get the result you expect right away. That mismatch can make the experience feel sticky or trapped. Fear makes this worse. In surveys of lucid nightmares, intense fear and lack of dream control were common, and some people reported being unable to wake on demand. That does not mean permanent entrapment. It means panic and low control can make a brief REM event feel much bigger than it is. The false awakening loop. A false awakening is when you dream that you woke up, but you are still asleep. The scene is often your real bedroom or a normal morning routine, which is why it is so convincing. EEG work suggests false awakenings sit in a strange middle zone between ordinary REM dreaming and wakefulness. And one lab study concluded that the brain during false awakening looks more like a dreaming brain than a fully awake one. This is one of the main reasons people think they were stuck. You may wake, notice something odd, realize it is still a dream, and then repeat the cycle. Survey work in lucid dreamers has found that false awakenings and lucid dreams often overlap. In one older survey of 90 lucid dreamers reported false awakening frequency correlated with lucid dream frequency, and 62% reported regular transitions between the two. Research here is still thin, so scientists can describe the phenomenon, but they still do not understand it as well as ordinary REM sleep. Why time feels different in dreams. Dream time feels strange because dreams are remembered after the fact, and retrospective dream reports are imperfect. Researchers studying REM lucid dreams note that dream reports are vulnerable to forgetting and distortion, which means your waking memory of a dream can feel longer, denser, or more dramatic than the measured event itself. When scientists have timed lucid dream tasks with eye signals, the results do not support wild movie-style time stretching. In one classic lucid dream timing study, counting in the dream took about as long as counting while awake. In later work, some motor tasks took longer in dreams than in waking life, with one study finding squats were about 40% slower, and a 2014 follow-up again finding motor actions often ran longer in dreams. So, dream time is best understood as elastic, not infinite. It may feel longer because the dream packs in vivid events, emotion, and odd memory structure, but controlled studies do not support the idea that you can literally live for years in a normal lucid dream, while only minutes pass in sleep. So can you actually stay trapped forever? The easy answer is no. No evidence from sleep medicine or lucid dream research supports the idea that you can stay trapped forever in a lucid dream. This conclusion follows from the basic physiology of sleep. REM sleep is one phase in repeating sleep cycles. Those cycles restart every roughly 80 to 100 minutes, and people usually pass through 4 to 6 cycles per night, with brief awakenings sometimes happening between them. Lucid dreaming happens inside that changing sleep system, not outside it. What people call being trapped is usually one of 3 temporary things: a lucid dream with poor control, a false awakening loop, or a transition problem like sleep paralysis. These can be very unpleasant, but they still end. Even the newer research on deliberately waking up from lucid dreams suggests that in many cases people can intentionally exit the dream. So the stronger statement is this: the feeling of entrapment is real. Permanent entrapment is not supported by evidence. That is the scientific perfectly defensible answer. So how do you get out if you ever find yourself feeling stuck? Panic tends to make the experience worse, not better. Survey research on lucid nightmares found that intense fear and lack of dream control are among their most common features. In that study, fewer than half of lucid dreamers had ever had a lucid nightmare, and only about 1% reported them as very frequent. But when they happen, they can feel as distressing, if not worse, than ordinary nightmares. Threatening dream characters are not rare in lucid dreams, but more experienced lucid dreamers are less likely to avoid them and more likely to work toward resolution. That does not prove a perfect method, but it does suggest that fear-driven avoidance can keep the dream feeling hostile, while calmer engagement may reduce distress. The practical message is simple. If you panic, your first job is not to dominate the dream. It is to lower the fear. A slow breath, a short internal sentence like "this is temporary," or a deliberate decision to wake up is far more useful than panic. If lucid dreaming is the state people worry about, sleep paralysis is often the state they actually mean. In sleep paralysis, consciousness returns while REM muscle atonia is still present. That means you are aware enough to know what is happening, but you cannot move or speak yet. Clinical sources describe it as a REM-wake dissociation, often with fear, chest pressure, or frightening intruder hallucinations. This is often scarier than a lucid dream because the room may be your real room. Cleveland Clinic notes that episodes are temporary and usually last seconds to a couple of minutes, though they can feel much longer. It also notes that sleep paralysis is not dangerous in itself, even though it can be emotionally distressing. Which brings us to the bottom line. Can you get stuck in a lucid dream? You can feel stuck, but the research does not support being trapped forever. Lucid dreams are temporary REM sleep events. What makes them seem dangerous is not permanent entrapment, but the realism of dreams. The fact that awareness does not guarantee control, the possibility of false awakenings, and the fear caused by sleep paralysis or lucid nightmares. There are also real limits to what science knows. Awakenings are still understudied in the lab. Many lucid dream coping techniques come from surveys or self-report rather than large trials. And some newer clinical uses of lucid dreaming remain promising but preliminary. Still, the central point is very solid. The brain can create a convincing temporary loop, but there is no evidence that can trap you there forever.